Welcome to War of the Roses. I'm Amanda Rose, and each week I will be joined by two panelists representing golf's overwhelming demographic, old men. Whether they know it or not, they are embarking on a journey from which they will never recover because this is war. Today I am joined by two panelists. Gary Van Sickle is a golf writer who has literally covered everything there is to cover in golf. Notably, and most surprisingly, he has 7 aces. But I guess it isn't that surprising because he has also played in 2 U.S. senior AMs. And Dan O'Neill is the least cool person to go to high school with Nelly. He's a 32-year veteran golf writer for the St. Louis Dispatch, as well as a contributing editor for Fox Golf. Guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. How are you?
Hey, Amanda.
So to start, we're going to do our rapid fire Rose or Thorn segment. I'm going to give you a topic. You're going to tell me in 1 sentence or less why you're going to give it a rose or you're going to give it a thorn. Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay. So I'm going to start with you, Gary. The PGA Tour returning. Is that a rose or a thorn?
That's a rose because I can only watch Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark on Saturday afternoon so many times.
And Dan, how about you?
Yeah, I'm going to say it's a thorn, actually, because I think they could have returned a lot earlier. What they're doing now isn't really any different than what they could have done 2 months ago.
Okay, so then, Dan, I am going to start with you here. We don't have fans until July. Is that a rose or a thorn for you?
Well, it's a thorn for me because one of my favorite things is seeing people risk their lives to go get to a ball in the woods first so they can see the next shot.
And what about you, Gary?
It's also a thorn. I think it's going to make for really bad TV. I just don't see how that's going to be user-friendly.
All right, Gary, I'm coming to you. Player microphones, being mic'd on the course. What do you think about that?
If I'm a player, that's a thorn. I say enough stuff wrong already. If I'm a viewer, I'm in favor of that's a rose. I want to hear more inside gossip. I got spoiled when we heard Tiger and Phil in the golf cart. So I'm 50-50 depending on who I am.
What about you, Dan?
It's a thorn for me, Amanda. I just think that you can imagine what they're saying, and that probably is more entertaining than what they're actually saying.
That is very fair. Who benefited the most from this time off? Dan, starting with you.
I'm going to say Justin Rose. You know, he was really struggling. He had missed 3 cuts and had a tie for 56 in his 4 starts this year thus far. Was screwing around with some new equipment. He's gone back to his old equipment, had some time to figure it out. He should be a lot better.
All right, Gary.
Well, I want to say me because I really had some time to work on my golf game and it's starting to come around. But since nobody cares about me, I'll go with Tiger.
You have 1 sentence, Gary. You have 1 sentence.
Well, I used a subjective thing, but Tiger Woods, he needed the break. His back is temporarily okay.
Good. All right, guys. Now you have 30 seconds each to give me an answer to these questions. I'm going to start with you, Gary. Does Colonial feel like a major right now after golf's absence?
No, it's not a major. It'll never be a major. It's a fun tournament, but I think this week it's mainly it's a major curiosity. How about that?
All right, and Dan, what about you?
Yeah, I think it is a little bit like a major. I think a state am would feel like a major right now because the people are starved for something.
Yeah.
But Tiger's not playing, and any major, whether it's Colonial or the Masters or whatever, any major without Tiger just doesn't feel quite the same.
All right, that's fair. Is there even a point to playing right now without fans? Dan, I'm going to start with you.
Well, to me, there's 2 kinds of fans. There's fans who really are into golf. They'll be watching on TV, so they'll get their fix. Then there's the fans who really don't care that much about golf but want to be at the event. And without corporate tents, without concession stands, and without people watching, a golf tournament isn't going to be the same without fans.
All righty, you got in just under 30 seconds. Very well done. Gary, same question to you.
I think the main point is TV viewers, TV ratings, and commercial sales. That's what it's all about. You need to get this money coming back in because these sponsors have put up big bucks to host these tournaments, and all they're getting is reruns of last year's event so far. So the main point is to keep the sponsors happy and keep these sponsorships going for 8 more years.
All right, guys. What is your final argument about the PGA Tour's return? Gary, let's start with you.
We need something to do on weekends, and The longer any sport stays away, and I think it's more true of baseball, the longer it stays away, the less we need it when it comes back. You want to be baseball, and after, if they don't have a season this year, next year, everybody says, I don't care anymore. And I think every sport, including golf, should feel that sense of urgency that people could forget us forever.
All right, perfect. Dan, same question to you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's a start, and Gary's right. But, you know, sports are about fans. They're about people who follow it. And as we touched on earlier, you know, a golf tournament that does not have fans, does not have that whole spectacle feel to it, is more like a made-for-TV thing, and that's not quite the same. So while it'll be great to be able to watch something other than, like, you know, reruns of New Girl, it's not going to be the same as seeing the gigantic galleries and things like that.
Is it going to go up? Oh, I thought there we go. You did. You made it just with like the nick of time, and I thought it was going to be more dramatic than that. All right, guys. So after hearing both of your arguments from today, I have to award my final rose. And after Dan said that he thought golf should have returned earlier, I was like, no. But then you said the stuff about the fans, and I was like, maybe. And then Gary had his arguments in trying to pick himself for needing this time off and, you know, putting himself and Tiger Woods in the same sentence. So neither of you get the rose. I get the rose. That's how it works. This is now a religious oligarchy. It's fine. War of the Roses. That's just how it's going to go. I'm so sorry to do that to you.